My fiancée said, "Don't speak too much at gatherings. You make me look like I'm dating down." I said, "Got it." I didn't argue. But the next time she walked into a gathering, everyone there was already talking about something, and the moment she heard what, she almost fainted. I'm Lucas, 29, and I spent 3 years with someone who thought I wasn't good enough to be seen with in public. This is about the night she told me to stay quiet so I wouldn't embarrass her, and how that request backfired in the most spectacular way possible. I met Vanessa when we were both 26. She worked in corporate law, came from money, had that polished look that intimidated most people. I'm a high school history teacher. Not glamorous, not wealthy, but I love what I do. When we started dating, she said she found my job refreshing and grounded. Looking back, I think she meant it was beneath her. The first year was good. We had chemistry, made each other laugh, seemed compatible despite coming from different worlds. But around month 18, things shifted. She started making comments about my career, my income, my clothes, my friends. Little digs that felt like jokes until they didn't. You wore that shirt to the last event. Maybe don't mention you're a teacher. Say you work in education. Can you not tell that story about the field trip? It makes you sound simple. I tried to brush it off. Told myself every couple has friction around differences. But the comments got worse. She started positioning me at social events like I was a prop she was embarrassed to own. 2 weeks ago, we were invited to a cocktail party at her colleague's penthouse. Some networking thing for young professionals. I wore my best suit, tried to look the part. On the drive over, Vanessa turned to me. "Quick thing. Don't speak too much tonight." "What?" "At the party. Just let me handle most of the talking. Especially if people ask what you do." "Why?" She sighed like I was being difficult. "Because you make me look like I'm dating down." I know that sounds harsh, but these people judge based on careers and connections. When you start talking about your students or your classroom, they tune out. It reflects poorly on me. I stared at her. "Dating down. I didn't mean it like that." "How did you mean it?" "I mean you're not in their league professionally. That's just reality. So tonight, let me lead conversations. Smile, nod, but don't volunteer information." Okay. I should have turned the car around. Should have told her if she was embarrassed by me, she shouldn't be with me. But I was tired of fighting. Tired of defending my worth to someone who was supposed to love me. "Got it," I said quietly. We went to the party. Vanessa worked the room like a politician, charming and confident. I stood beside her, smiling when appropriate, saying almost nothing. When people asked what I did, she'd answer for me. "Lucas works in education." Then she'd change the subject. Around 9 p.m., I was standing alone near the bar when one of Vanessa's colleagues approached. James, a partner at her firm. Nice guy, always treated me normally. "Hey Lucas, how are you holding up?" "Fine. You?" "Good. Listen, I wanted to say something. What you do matters. Teaching high school? That takes patience and dedication most of us don't have. Don't let anyone make you feel otherwise." I looked at him. "Did Vanessa say something?" He hesitated. "She mentioned you'd be here tonight. Made a comment about how you're different from her usual crowd. The way she said it didn't sit right with me." "Yeah. She told me not to talk too much so I don't embarrass her." James's expression darkened. "That's messed up. You know that, right?" "I'm starting to." We talked for another 10 minutes. He asked about my work, seemed genuinely interested. It was the first real conversation I'd had all night. When Vanessa found me later, she was irritated. "I've been looking for you. Why are you talking to James?" He asked me a question. I answered. "Well, wrap it up. We're leaving soon." That night at home, I couldn't sleep. Kept replaying her words. Dating down. Like I was something she'd settled for. Something she had to manage to minimize damage to her image. The next morning, I made a decision. Update 1. I called James. We'd exchanged numbers at the party. He answered on the second ring. "Lucas? Everything okay? I need to ask you something." The comment Vanessa made about me being different from her usual crowd. What exactly did she say? Pause. "Are you sure you want to know?" "Yes." She said you're a nice guy, but not ambitious. That you're content teaching high school, while the rest of us are building real careers. That she worries people will think less of her for dating someone so ordinary. Ordinary. Like I was white noise in human form. "Thanks for telling me. Lucas, I'm sorry. You deserve better than that." After we hung up, I sat in our apartment thinking. Vanessa was at work, wouldn't be home until evening. I started looking through our social media, our photos, our shared life. Noticed a pattern. I was barely in any of her posts. When I was, I was cropped to the edge or tagged without being shown. She'd curated an image of herself as successful and independent, with me as the occasionally mentioned boyfriend who didn't photograph well enough for her aesthetic. I started drafting a text to her close friends and family. Then I stopped. Text was too easy to misinterpret. This needed to be said in person. Vanessa's mother, Patricia, had always been kind to me. We'd had coffee a few times, talked about books and current events. She was hosting a small dinner party that Friday. Vanessa's sister, brother-in-law, Patricia's best friend Carol, and a few family friends. Vanessa and I were invited. I called Patricia. Lucas, how are you, dear? I'm good, Patricia. Listen, about Friday's dinner. Would it be okay if I arrived an hour early? I'd like to help with setup. Oh, that's sweet but unnecessary. I insist. I'll be there at 5. She agreed, probably thinking I was just being polite. Friday came. I arrived at Patricia's house at 5 p.m. as promised. Helped her set the table, prep some appetizers, made small talk. Around 5:30, while we were alone in the kitchen, I started talking. Patricia, I need to tell you something. About Vanessa and me. She looked up from the vegetables she was chopping. Is everything all right? Not really. She's ashamed of me. Of my job. Of who I am. Lucas, that can't be true. 2 weeks ago, she told me not to speak too much at a work party because I make her look like she's dating down. She said I'm not in her colleague's league. That I embarrass her. Patricia set down the knife. She said that. Yes. And I've been thinking about it since. About all the little comments over the years. How she never posts photos of me. How she changes the subject when people ask what I do. How she introduces me as vaguely as possible. I had no idea. I know. Because she's good at hiding it. But I can't keep being with someone who thinks I'm beneath her. Patricia hugged me. Actually hugged me right there in her kitchen. I'm so sorry. That's not how she was raised. I'm going to end it. Tonight. But I wanted you to know first. And I wanted to tell everyone else too. So they understand why. Tell everyone? You mean at dinner? I mean before Vanessa gets here. I want them to know what she said. What she thinks of me. So when she walks in, she can't spin it or make me the bad guy. Patricia considered this. That's bold. She humiliated me privately. I think she should face the consequences publicly. I support you. Whatever you need to say. Update 2. By 6 p.m., everyone had arrived except Vanessa. Her sister Emma, Emma's husband Todd, Carol, and 2 family friends, Margaret and William. We were in the living room, drinks in hand, making conversation. Patricia looked at me. I nodded. Everyone. Lucas has something he'd like to share before Vanessa arrives. The room went quiet. All eyes on me. Thanks for listening. This is uncomfortable, but I need to say it. Vanessa and I are done. I'm ending our engagement tonight. Emma gasped. What? What? Because she's ashamed of me. She told me 2 weeks ago not to speak too much at her work party because I make her look like she's dating down. She said I'm not in her colleague's league. That I embarrass her professionally. You could hear a pin drop. She's been doing this for a while, I continued. Making comments about my job, my income, my friends. Telling me to downplay who I am so I don't damage her image. I'm a high school history teacher. I love my job. I'm good at it. But that's not enough for her. I'm not enough for her. Carol spoke first. Lucas, I had no idea. She always spoke highly of you to me. She speaks highly of me when I'm not around. When I am around, she treats me like an accessory she's embarrassed to wear. Todd, that's harsh, man. You sure you're not misinterpreting? I'm sure. I can tell you the exact words she used. And I can tell you this has been building for over a year. Margaret, what does she say when you confront her? She says I'm being too sensitive. That she's just being honest. That reality is I'm not in the same professional class as her and her friends, so I need to accept that. Emma looked genuinely upset. She said that to you? Multiple times. We talked for another 15 minutes. I laid out specific examples, specific comments. Patricia corroborated that she'd seen the social media pattern I mentioned, how I was barely present in Vanessa's online life. Emma admitted she'd noticed Vanessa seemed uncomfortable when I talked about my work at family gatherings. At 6:30, we heard a car door. Vanessa was here. Everyone went quiet. I felt my heart racing but kept my expression calm. The front door opened. Vanessa walked in, looking polished and professional as always. Smiled at the room. Sorry I'm late. Traffic was terrible. No one responded. She looked around, confused by the silence. What's going on? Patricia, Lucas told us what you said to him. About him dating down. Vanessa's face went white, then red. She looked at me. You told them? I did. That was a private conversation. You made a public judgment about my worth. I'm making a public statement about ending this relationship. You can't just, everyone, he's exaggerating. I never said those exact words. Emma, Lucas gave us specifics. Multiple examples. This isn't an exaggeration. He's twisting everything. I was trying to help him understand how to navigate my professional world. Me? By telling me to stay quiet so I don't embarrass you? I didn't say it like that. You said I make you look like you're dating down. Those were your exact words. She turned to her mother. Mom, you can't seriously believe him over me. Patricia, I believe him. Because he has no reason to lie. And because I've seen how you treat him sometimes. I just didn't want to acknowledge it. Vanessa looked around the room. No one was on her side. Everyone was looking at her with disappointment or disgust. The silence was devastating. I was going to break up with you anyway, she said finally, voice shaking. You're right. You're not enough. You'll never be enough. I was just waiting for the right time. Well, this is the right time. You ambushed me. In front of my family. You humiliated me for years. This is just returning the favor. Update 3. Vanessa left Patricia's house within 5 minutes. Didn't eat, didn't stay, just grabbed her purse and walked out. I stayed for dinner. It was awkward but cathartic. Everyone expressed support, said they wished they'd said something sooner, apologized for not seeing the signs. Emma, I feel terrible. I noticed things but thought maybe I was reading too much into it. It's not your fault. She's good at hiding it. Patricia pulled me aside after dinner. You're welcome here anytime. With or without Vanessa. You've been nothing but kind and respectful. I'm proud of how you handled tonight. Thank you. That means a lot. Over the next week, Vanessa tried to control the narrative with her friends. Posted vague things on social media about being attacked and people showing their true colors. But Emma and Patricia both set the record straight with people who asked. The truth spread quickly. Vanessa's colleagues, the ones from that party, started hearing the story. James called me. I heard what happened. Good for you, man. She's been spinning it like you're the villain, but people aren't buying it. Especially after I told a few people about the conversation we had at the party. You told them? I told them you're a good guy who got treated like garbage. That her comments about you being ordinary were out of line. Words getting around that she's not as professional as she pretends to be. Her reputation took a hit. Not enough to destroy her career, but enough that people started viewing her differently. The polished, perfect image cracked. Final update. It's been 3 months. Vanessa and I haven't spoken directly. She sent a few texts early on, some apologetic, most defensive. I never responded. Eventually she stopped trying. I heard through Emma that Vanessa's been dating someone new. Another lawyer, someone who fits her idea of appropriate. I hope he's happy being arm candy for someone who values image over substance. Patricia and I still meet for coffee occasionally. She apologized again for not intervening sooner. I told her it wasn't her responsibility to fix her daughter's character flaws. I'm doing well. Teaching, living alone, actually enjoying being single. Started going to social events where I don't have to edit myself or stay quiet to avoid embarrassment. Turns out I'm pretty interesting when I'm allowed to talk. The night Vanessa walked into her mother's house and realized everyone already knew what she'd said about me, that almost fainting moment, was the first time she'd faced real consequences for treating me like I was beneath her. She'd spent 3 years making me feel small. In one evening, she got to feel what that was like. I don't feel victorious, just relieved. Relieved I'm not spending another year, or a lifetime, with someone who thought I wasn't good enough. Relieved I found the courage to tell the truth instead of quietly accepting the insults. And relieved that the next time I'm at a gathering, I can speak as much as I want. Edit. People have asked if I feel guilty about ambushing her at her mother's house. Honestly, no. She had years to treat me with basic respect. I gave her one evening of accountability. If she'd wanted privacy, she should have thought about that before telling me to stay quiet in public. Edit. For anyone wondering, yes, I'm still teaching. Love my job. Love my students. And I'm done apologizing for not being a corporate lawyer or investment banker or whatever else Vanessa thought qualified as ambitious enough.